Hello, welcome back to the ministry. I got two nice words for you. So get ready, because here we go. So this morning I was in prayer in my prayer time with the Lord, and He and I was having some discussion about some things that I was dealing with. And I was like, there's something that's bothering me. And as I was just expressing it to the Lord, I got the intuitive understanding I need to share it with you guys. So you get what me and God was talking about this morning, okay? And this was the revelation that I was getting in the midst of our conversation. Right now, I have noticed in the past week or so, and it's been a little bit longer than that, but I think this is just a long-running attack that the enemy is operating. So consider this a secret, okay? That the enemy don't want people to know. As we know, Satan is the prince of the air. So he operates as according to the scripture in Job. Job 42, I think it is. 42, 43, where we hear about that spirit of, the marine spirit that has all of the strong scales and all of that. He had to put the pike up through his mouth, right? Puts a hook through his mouth. But what is the issue? This spirit operates in the spirit of confusion. What is it operating? Its strongest area of confusion in the church is in relation to money. It's not the fact that money isn't there. Money's there. It's the twisting of words in relation to how people use the words to describe financial increase. There is a long-running veil over financial increase in the church. And every time ministers start to explain how to make money through the church, there is a series of voices that will come out and bring up a spirit of confusion, okay? Because what? The enemy is a prince of the air. He cannot afford for you to gain wisdom on how to financially become free. For he who the Son sets free is free indeed. How are we freed? My people perish for lack of what? Knowledge. If you don't understand the knowledge in relation to your financial freedom, then what happens? You end up in a state of confusion. So there is this spirit that is desiring to twist your ability to understand financial teachings and teachings that bring about contrary content to make you not be able to understand the word in a proper manner, where even teachers will be contradicting themselves. And when you start seeing this, you need to start praising God, because that means that Lord is about to bring a financial increase to you, but the enemy is trying to bring a level of confusion so that he can bring a level of bewitchment, which is a false message that will therefore twist the truth, therefore keeping you in a stumbling block that therefore distracts you from the manifestation of God's will for your life financially. Okay, because then you can't hear nor can you understand what it is that's needed and necessary in the right time nor season, so it can then therefore be made manifest in your life. Why? Because he brought a confusing message. Because if you look at the scripture, let's talk about it. There's a scripture in the Bible that talks about, perfect example, when Elisha went forth with the prophets of Baal. Come on, let's talk about it. We always hear about this scripture. Elisha went forth with the prophets of Baal. It was 400 prophets, and it's assumed that it may have been at least 800 prophets there that day. And they were sitting there cutting themselves, doing all of this kind of stuff. Why, though? What was the message that the prophets were bringing that was contrary to God's will, that Elisha had to even say, set this thing on fire? Could it have been that it was a form of increase? Because if you recognize, even if you go to the book of 2 Kings, it's 2 Kings 18 and 19. There's a spirit of confusion that is also brought in by bringing forth a slew of questions. And the way that the questions are insinuated, therefore, brings a level of what? Confusion against the very leader that is speaking. This is something that we're seeing happen even right now. Why? Because it must bring in a level of division, confusion, and double-mindedness. So then, therefore, you will not what? Increase. Because if it's enough questions, they must bring accusation against the leader that's teaching it. Because if it's confusion there, people will not follow what? The instruction. Now, you can go in your own time and read about that battle with Elijah and the prophets. But would Jezebel want you to gain financial freedom? Think about it. Because financial freedom means that you are no longer under what? The leader's tyranny. So then, therefore, going back to 2 Kings, and you can read that on your own time, 18:19. I went through it a little bit in Fighting Temptations word that I did. That with that level, they must create a bunch of questions that therefore project that wealth and success are now being brought into confusion, and therefore will take you out of agreement with gaining financial success. Therefore, and this is funny, I was in prayer about something the other day, and I had been listening to one of them. This is like my main minister. This is like, if I erased every minister that I ever listened to, I would probably only listen to her because I see results. Okay. But she was making the point of talking about our dominion and power. And she literally just came out with a book. And immediately after I was listening to her talk, I got a biblical scripture pop up because I have a lock screen on my phone that pops up biblical scriptures every time I open my phone screen. And it was one talking about a prayer against do not become contentious and greedy. And I was sitting there like, where was I becoming contentious? This is the way the enemy does you. He will start to sow seeds to make you think that you're the one in order to project upon you. Oh, you're the one that's trying to be. How am I trying to become greedy? I ain't got it like that. To be, what are you talking about? It is the love of money. Do you love it? Is your only sole purpose to get money? I remember a movie I watched. It starred the main actress. And this was the biggest level movie I've ever seen in my life. I only watched it because I liked her back at that time. It starred the actress that played in my show Buffy when I was growing up. And in this movie, it was like they had stole a bunch of money. And she took all that money and she was rolling in the bed with it. And I was sitting there like, And that's what just popped into my head. That's greed. Yeah, that's greed. If you want money to sit up there rolling in the bed with it because you love it that much, then yeah, you greedy. But those of us that walk with Jesus, God more than likely gave you a formula of something that he needs for you to do with your life. So you're going to need money for that. And even if he didn't, you still got to go to the grocery store and buy groceries, and inflation is dumb lately. Right? Oh, right. Okay. Okay. So with that being said, no, you ain't greedy. You got to be resourceful, and you got to be able to think properly. No, you can't love that money and be rolling around in bed with it because you're happy to have that money. I remember my mom one time, I had saved up my allowance to get something, and I brought the money down to her, and she was like, oh, look at all of that money. And she was sitting there like, ooh, she was counting it and all that kind of stuff. She's like, look at all that money. I miss my mama sometimes. She was one silly woman. But yeah. You got to understand, you can't love that money. I just think she was mocking me because she wanted to be funny in that moment. But the point that I have and now I'm trying to make in this is that money is not evil. Loving it is evil. But the enemy will try to twist that and say that even having it is evil. You need to have it. But you need to understand the principle, and this is why the enemy fights so hard in you understanding ethical principles financially on how money operates. I did an entire series of teachings. Go look in my playlist, Kingdom Wealth and Distribution. I'm going to be putting this in there too. But I talked about there's a breakdown and a attack on marriages, all because of the finances. Because if your finances are under attack, your marriage is under attack. If your marriage is under attack, you and your spouse going to be in conflict. You and your spouse being in conflict, you ain't going to have no sex life. Because y'all conflicted all the time. And there goes the breakdown of the 3 areas that the enemy wants to keep you in bondage in your marriage. Communication, finance, and sex. There you go. Oh, I got a series. I got a 5-part series on sex in one of my podcasts. And I'm right now debating on when I'm gonna put that up. But my point, coming back to the financial part, the enemy will try to convict you and condemn you. Even with, come on, just before I walk away from the sex part, he's going to try to convict you and condemn you because you're a child of God and you are even thinking about or talking about sex. As long as it's within marriage and is under the right parameters and you are trying to do what's necessary to maintain your marriage, yeah, you can talk about sex. Don't condemn yourself. As long as you are within the rights of your marriage, you are fine. As long as you ain't out here doing satanic acts in sexual proclivities and lustful perversions, you're all right. The marriage bed is undefiled. You know what's right and you know what's wrong. Stop playing. But my point being, coming back to the money, same thing. Don't be sitting up there getting convicted and condemned because you came into agreement with these lies that money is evil. Because this is what the enemy has done in the churches forever. Then there's this spirit of prevention that is disguised as caution and wisdom. Oh, loving money is evil. You don't want to have money. You need to be a pauper in the church and be a humble servant of God, but for some reason, God placed us in a world that we have to live off money. Otherwise, go out in the Amish country and trade and barter. But understand, you're probably going to be wearing the same clothes. You'll be sewing your own clothing. You're going to be doing everything for yourself. Everything. Homestead living all the way. But I guarantee you, they still bartering and selling between each other. Everybody in the Amish country. So I'm going to need for you to come out of agreement with false forms of wisdom. Okay? That's disguised as caution. That is literally a form of preventing you from what? Coming to agreement with the wealth that God is trying to bring into your life. Why? Coming back to the beginning, because he wants to bring you into a spirit of confusion that he has released into the air so that you will not understand, because there's a spirit of bewitchment that has twisted everything up. Do you want me to tap on that right now? Because you have to understand that there is a conscious effort in the church right now to come against finance, which also means coming against the tithe, tithing into the ministries, tithing into your ministries, your churches, what have you. Tithing. It's a demonic assault against what is meant to be God's. You hear me? Is it understood? So there is something powerful about sowing your seed. I don't ask you guys for a seed. What's my number one rule? If God didn't say it, I always say it this way. If God gives it to you and says, sow it to me, blessed be to Jesus, I thank you for it. But I'm not begging you for no seed. But I'm going to tell you the importance of the understanding of seed time and harvest. You will sow, you will grow. If you feel that you are growing from hearing what I have to say, go right ahead and sow. If that's your will or your desire, because God put it on your heart to sow to me, blessed be to Jesus. I ain't forcing you. I ain't forcing your hands. I know what it feels like that when a minister comes at you, oh, sow this amount, sow this amount. Either you're feeling oppressed and depressed because you couldn't sow, because they're telling you, oh, you need to sow $100. Oh, you need to sow $200. Oh, you need to sow $400. Oh, you need to sow 4,000. And you're like, well, I don't have it. Does that mean that God can't bless me? God will bless the widow's mite. I don't care if you're a widow or not. Because that's another financial argument that's been up in the air right now. God will bless that too. Okay? God pours out on both. And I believe, now this is me speaking, that God will bless your heart posture. He said, I love a what? Cheerful giver. He doesn't want you to sit up there feel panicked because you can't give. Because I know there are some ministers that they'll sit up there and they'll say, oh, give to the poor. You must give to the poor. You must. Then you sitting up there panicking. Oh my God, God's not going to bless me because I didn't give to the poor because I couldn't find a poor person today to give to. Oh my God. God, am I going to miss out on blah, 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 blah. Or vice versa. Oh, I'm supposed to be able to give. I need to give to this ministry. If your heart feels that way, don't give. And you shouldn't be desiring to give on a day that your heart feels that way. Why? Because what? God loves a cheerful giver. But you need to understand that, coming back to the very point of this broadcast, that Satan up here playing with y'all anyway. You understand what I'm saying? He wants you to feel, oh, I'm depressed because I ain't got no money. I feel oppressed because I don't have enough money, so I shouldn't sow a seed because I don't have it. But at the same time, there's also that spirit of false evidence that appears real that makes you feel like, oh my God, this ministry is making me feel spiritually raped. Come on, let's be honest. They're making me, because I don't have the money to give to them, or something like that, or they want all of my money. I've seen ministers. I went to a church one time when I was in New York. I was in the middle of my go through, and I went to a later service that evening, and this minister was straightly sitting up there talking about, oh, if you don't have enough money, these people were like, well, I sold my house, and I sold everything that was in it, and I gave the church $50,000. Don't be stupid. Did God tell you to sell your house and all your possessions within it? I know the scripture talks about the rich man that was supposed to sell a house and all of their possessions. But did he tell you to do that? See, people be trying to twist God's word, and God don't look nicely on people like that. Them types of ministers, they about to get it and get it bad for doing that to folks. So now they done gave all their money into your church, but was you a good church? Because God blesses the intention. But was you a good ministry to sow into? Let me explain. Come on now. That's why you should never feel spiritually raped by a minister. Tell me you understand what I'm saying. That's why I don't beg you for money. If you want to sow it, you sow it. But you ain't going to be sitting up here hearing every single time. If I'm talking about money, I'm going to make that point. Releasing a financial release into a minister that you trust, absolutely. And you will see a harvest on the seed in which you sowed. You most definitely will. It'll come back to you at some particular point in time. And the Lord will let you know that if he's the one that gave it to you, he will release it. The bigger the seed, the more time it may also take for that thing to multiply, depending on what situation you're in. Because that seed's got to germinate. There are ministers that I follow. They say that, oh, I sold a $10,000 or a $50,000 seed, but it took 3 years for that thing to come back. Some, it took 24 to 48 hours. But it always comes back, what? Pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Which means you will get that 100-fold blessing off of that. It doesn't always have to be that because you sold $10,000, you're going to get $100,000 back. But you're going to get 100-fold off whatever it was that you showed. I be questioning God on certain things all the time, because I'm like, because God will know your heart. He might give you more than that. Why? Because he understands your heart in that situation. How much you've been sowing, how much you've been, and he's calculating up your seeds. And then he makes a major release into your life. So I'm going to tell you, one of the biggest blessings that you can do for yourself is sow seed. So, because it does something for your situation. And you will see it do something. Whatever it is that you're standing for. But the enemy wants to what? Bring confusion against the seed and against prosperity and finance in the church. So I'm not going to batter you over the head with this, but I needed to bring that revelation to you because it came to me. And I said, I think my people need to know this. So I'm going to share it with you guys. All right. So I hope this blessed you. Until next time, much love, faith, peace, and blessings.